The day the sky died. It began with a flicker, just a single brief twitch in the blue sky that seemed like nothing at all. Some blamed the satellites, others thought it was a solar flare, but nobody realized what it truly was until it was too late. On the first day, the sun flickered out for exactly 13 minutes. Scientists scrambled, trying to find answers. But the darkness was impenetrable. Panic began to grip the world as people stared at their watches, counting the seconds. When the light finally returned, it wasn't quite right. The sky had turned a sickly grey, like something was draining the colour from the world. A creeping cold set in despite it being midsummer. By the second day, the sky was completely black at noon, but the air was strangely warm and humid. The sun was still gone, leaving a void in the sky that no one could explain. Worse still, the stars that should have appeared at night weren't there either. It was just an endless, empty abyss above. People started hearing voices. First, it was whispers in the wind, soft, unintelligible murmurs that seemed to come from all directions. Then they became clearer, speaking in familiar tones, sometimes a friend's voice, sometimes a lost loved one. Some people followed the voices, wandering into the streets, their eyes glazed and vacant. They were never seen again. By the third day, the earth began to rot. Trees, once vibrant, shriveled and crumbled to ash within hours. Grass turned black, and rivers ran with thick, oily water. But the worst was the smell. The stench of decay permeated everything, as if the world itself was rotting from the inside out. That night, the moon appeared for the first time in days. But it was wrong, twisted, deformed, and broken. Its pale light cast deep shadows that didn't match their sources. Figures moved within those shadows, slithering and writhing, never quite stepping into the light, but always just at the edge of vision. On the fourth day, the sky began to bleed. It started as a single red drop, like rain, but thicker. Then it spread. The clouds bled, the horizon dripped crimson, and soon it wasn't rain falling from the heavens. It was blood. People fled indoors, locking themselves away, but the blood soaked through walls, through roofs, through skin. The whispers turned into screams. In every corner of the world, people huddled together, terrified and trembling, as the voices in the air became unbearable. Some clawed at their ears, trying to tear out the sounds, but no matter what they did, they couldn't escape the haunting wails of their own impending doom. On the fifth day, the sun returned, but it wasn't the sun. A monstrous red orb hovered where the sun once was, pulsating like a heart, casting a vile blood-red glow over the world. Its heat was oppressive, searing the skin, and from its surface came a deep, guttural sound, a heartbeat, loud enough to shake the ground. Then came the creatures. They poured from the sky like locusts, their bodies writhing with unnatural limbs, faces stretched into endless, silent screams. They didn't kill quickly. They feasted on fear, dragging their prey into the streets, savouring the terror in their eyes as they tore them apart slowly, methodically. The lucky ones died quickly, their screams silenced by the blood-choked air. The rest of humanity was forced to watch, paralysed by fear as the creatures swarmed through cities, towns, and villages. Governments collapsed within hours. Communication ceased. There was no one left to call for help. On the sixth day, the world was quiet. Too quiet. The creatures stopped. They stood still, their black, twisted forms casting long, inhuman shadows over the ruins of civilization. And then, one by one, they began to stare upwards, toward the bleeding sky, toward the red heart that now beat for the world. And the whispers returned, only this time they were clear. They spoke of the end. Of something older than time, something that had always been watching, waiting, and now it was here. On the seventh day, the sky died. A great tear ripped across the heavens, as if the fabric of reality itself was being undone. Beyond the tear, there was nothing, not darkness, just a void, a space where existence had no meaning, where time, light, and life ceased to be. Everything began to unravel. The world, the creatures, the people. Reality collapsed in on itself, folding like paper into that gaping void, swallowed whole without a sound. There were no more screams, no more whispers, just silence. In the end, there was nothing. And then nothingness blinked, and it began again. But this time you were the one watching,